Hello, this is Paul Chek. Welcome back to my Tips on Breathing series. This is part 4, piston breathing. Piston breathing is a ancient breathing technique. I don't know for sure if it came from yoga or where it came from. I've identified it in a number of different sources over the years of my research and practicing these different methods. Piston breathing is a very good method for increasing oxygenation and naturally exciting the sympathetic nervous system. It's good for when you're tired. It's good for when you're mentally foggy. It's also good when you want to get ready for any kind of intense exercise, whether it be sprinting, weightlifting, or anything where you're going to go exert yourself. Or another way to say it is it's very good anytime you would normally reach for coffee or some kind of a stimulant to give you a pickup. Now, I did talk in our last edition, I believe, about breathing for anxiety, and I showed you how to use a breathing technique where it was inhale for 4, hold for 6, exhale for 8, with the tongue on the roof of the mouth, making a sound, and I called that taking the garbage out. Now, that particular technique has the opposite effect of this one, where most people suffer from anxiety are overly stimulated in the sympathetic system and therefore relatively shut down in their parasympathetic system, and they need to calm down in many instances. This one here is better to pick you up and rev up the sympathetic system, but doing it naturally. That said, it can be used for anxiety in a situation where a person has anxiety because their body systems are running low on energy. For example, if a person gets sleep deprived, then they may have a sympathetic response due to the emotional reaction to a lot of the situations they might be in, time pressures, relationship pressures. So those people, though they are anxious, could actually use the piston breathing, but they should do that first before they try reaching for coffee, tea, or other stimulants, and they should do it for very short periods, such as 6 to 10 seconds, and then allow themselves to see how their body responds. If they respond favorably, they can build it up progressively from there. For most people, you can use piston breathing pretty much anytime you like to, but you should also start with about 6 to 10 seconds of it to see how your body responds, and then just build yourself up progressively. I have it here in my book, How to Eat, Move, and Be Healthy, as one of your zone exercises. And in that book, I encourage you to build yourself up to 100 piston breaths. Now, the way you do a piston breath, it's called a piston breath because in an engine, you have a piston in a cylinder, and as the piston comes up on the exhaust stroke, it pushes all the exhaust out, and then on the intake stroke, it draws fresh air in, and it goes up and down, up and down, up and down. So we're going to visualize that kind of concept. On the inhale, we want to make sure our belly's coming out and breathing in through the nose with the tongue on the roof of the mouth. And then on the exhale, we're going to push it out quickly with some effort, like a piston coming up through the nose, ideally, but if you can't get it out through your nose, make sure you have some Kleenex handy, because the piston breathing will certainly make a mess of a suit or a nice dress if you got anything in your nose. So we're going to inhale through the belly and then blow it out through the nose. In. Now, it's good to use your abs to push that extra air out. If you just breathe out normally, there's still more air you can get out with your abdominals. Okay? So to really purge the lungs of the stale air, we want to work that abdominal wall, but we don't want it to be so hard that it induces movement. In other words, you wouldn't want to go like you were doing a crunch. That would have a negative effect in that you're recruiting what are called phasic muscles, or the muscles you use to throw a ball, run, or jump, when really we want to focus on the breathing. So we want it to be with some gusto, but we don't want it to be, radical. So let me demonstrate, about 10 seconds of piston breathing so you can see what it would look like. And also you want to practice by first just getting your movement, inhale, exhale. Because what can happen if you start going really fast, you can actually start getting your abdominal wall moving out of time with your breathing, and then your abdominal wall's tightening when it should be expanding. Kind of like if you run too fast down a hill and you get into a speed wobble and you can't control your legs. So we don't want to go so fast that we lose control. So here's what piston breathing would look like if I was doing it on my own. Woo! That was 30 of them. And it can get you high. I've got a nice oxygen buzz going right now. My head feels nice and clear. And I feel very vitalized. There's a lot of prana in those piston breaths. So again, I would start off with about 6 to 10 seconds. See how you feel. Give yourself a break for half a minute or so. And if you feel like you can handle more, do another 6 to 10. Work yourself up to 6 to 10 sets of that. And then as you feel better, you can just increase the amount of breaths you do. Like I say, I just did 30. In my book, I encourage you to work your way up to 100 of them, but you can start slower too. If you go a little slower, you don't get such a charge of oxygen and sympathetic excitation. And I'm sure many of you have seen people like Olympic weightlifters and power lifters approaching the bar for a maximum lift, and you can see them going... They're exciting their bodies with oxygen. And the reason they do that is oxygen, high levels of oxygen in the bloodstream happens to favor the action of calcium in the muscles, and calcium is used in the binding process in the sarcoplasmic reticulum. You get a release of calcium that helps tighten the muscle, contract it. So we have a tendency to already innately know that before we're going to exert ourselves to pump ourselves up. So this is just a bit more of a focused, conscious way, and bringing awareness on breathing through the nose, because the nose is designed specifically to spin the air through what are called turbinates, where you have a mucous membrane and hair, and the mucus and the hair pull out microscopic debris, little bugs and parasites and things that you can't see with your naked eye, and moisten the air to get it ready to go into the lung. So breathing through the nose when you're doing this type of exercise is important. So there's a little exercise right out of my book, How to Eat, Move, and Be Healthy. I've met the author. He's a cool dude. He loves to share with you. For $24.95, you can change your life, and you can help other people do the same. And I hope you enjoy your piston breathing. In part 5 of Tips on Breathing, I will show you a core exercise called the 4-point tummy vacuum, and I'll show you how you can use breathing to activate the abdominal wall, enhance core stability, and I'll explain how that can improve your overall breathing and autonomic balance. Thanks for joining me today. I'm Paul Chek. Don't forget to go to the Chek Institute website. Check out our HLC, Holistic Lifestyle Coach Level 1 online program. You can now take it online without even traveling. We even have a special version where you can take the course online and then work with one of our instructors for more specific coaching and get all your questions answered, and a whole lot more. Thanks for joining me. See you soon.